tassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Good afternoon, everyone. Last week we talked about functional consciousness, right? So this week also will continue the nature of the functional consciousness. So as you know, we have 20 types of functional consciousness. So among them, only 2 functional consciousness can arise in the minds of Buddhojana and also for trainees. So other than these 2, so the rest of the 80s can arise only in the Arahant, the minds of Arahant, the Buddha, and Pacceka Buddha, right? So the point is, so why, even though Buddhojana do good deed, and also Arahant also do good deed. So what is different, right? Why it became 2 categories, right? Normally, if we do good deed, so we have a sincere, wholesome consciousness, right? Kusala. But if Arahant and the Buddha do good things, it became functional consciousness, KIRIYA, right? So the main reason, I think, if we learn dependent originations, it's quite clear that, so if we do not have, so why we are doing good deed as a Buddhojana, as a normal people, so if we are doing good deed without craving, without ignorance, these 2, especially these 2, then we can call it functional consciousness. Because in dependent originations, so if there is no ignorance, if there is no craving, and if there is no grasping or clinging, upadana, then there will be no karma formation. So here, karma means good deed or bad deed, right? Good deed or bad deed. So therefore, as a normal people, sometimes, so we meditate mindfully when we are meditating, and also even when we are giving something, even we keep precept, right? So we do mindfully. So at that moment, there's no ignorance and there's no craving in our mind. So the consciousness that arises at that moment can be called Kriya Citta, right? So therefore, I'm teaching this one, the nature of functional consciousness. But it doesn't, it is not in accordance with the Abhidhamma, right? But we learn with the reference to Cittas. I think it is very logical one, very logical one. So anyway, last week we learn about Bahiya Soda. So when we see something, we have to practice just merely see, right? So when we hear something, just merely hear. So actually it's the teaching is so concise that so very difficult to understand, right? So therefore we have another sutta, so similar teachings in Malucca from Samyutta Nikaya. So Malucca, so he joined the order in his old age, and he requested the Buddha that he went to listen the Dhamma, a very short Dhamma, a short teaching. Then after hearing that Dhamma, he said that he might understand the teachings of the Buddha. So he went to practice. So after getting the method of meditation, so he went to meditate. He is very old. So therefore, the Buddha made sure that he is willing to listen. Then the Buddha knows that even though he is very old, he is willing to practice his teachings. So therefore, he teach this the same teaching, but a little bit almost the same. But there are some additional teachings as well, right? So in that sutta, the Buddha said that the same teachings. So Malucha Buddha, so you must practice that in the scene. So you must practice merely the scene. So when you hear, just practice that you are merely heart, right? So when you sense the taste, the smell, and the touch, you just practice merely the sense, right? So when you cognize with the mind, so you just practice merely cognize, right? So actually, then after listening this short Dhamma talk, the Malucha Buddha made sure that he understand what the Buddha taught. So actually, this is one of the his talking, and he said that Bhante, he talking to the Buddha, I understand you are teaching in this way. When family mindful, one sees a form, one is not inflamed by lust for forms. So actually when we see a form, something to see, so our mind is not inflamed by lust, by greed, right? For forms. So when experiences it with a dispassionate mind and does not remain holding it tightly. Normally, when we see something or somebody, so we are not mindful. We hold it, that object or that person, very firmly. Either like we like it or we don't like it. Either with the lust or anger, right? Anger. So when we hear something, we are not mindful, right? So we take it, we hold it, we grasp it. So we like it or we don't like it. With the lust or hatred. That means we are not mindful. But if you are mindful, wherever you see, wherever you hear, everything, right? Then there is no lust or there is no anger. Sometimes even you hear criticism, somebody is criticizing you, you're mindful, but no anger in your mind, right? Such a time. So the main point here is family mindful. That is very important one. So we have learned that meditation is nothing but developing mindfulness. Developing mindfulness. So when you are sitting, when you're walking, lying down, standing, any postures. So if you are mindful, you are meditating. So that means that when you are developing mindfulness, when you are firmly mindful, wherever you see, wherever you hear, and like this, so that means you don't have any ignorance or craving, right? So actually, Malucha Buddha understand in this way. So in the same way, so the Sutta treats all the 6 sense bases in the same way. So when we hear, when you sense, here actually is Malucha Buddha use 6 sense base. 6 sense base. 6 sense base means seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, touching, and thinking, right? That when you are mindful, when you are developing, when you are doing everything with your senses, 6 senses, with the mindfulness, so there is no lust, there is no anger or hatred. At that time, if you are mindful, no ignorance. Because you're mindful, you know it very clearly, right? That means ignorant means not knowing clearly, not knowing what you are doing very clearly. This is ignorance, right? So by that time, there is no ignorance, there is no lobha, dosa, moha, right? So I will say that by that time, your mind is like a arahant's mind by that time. So arahant, the Buddha, Pachika Buddha, they live mindfully all the time. Mindfully, right? So therefore here, my note. In the sea, there will be merely the sea. So in the heart, there will be merely the heart. In the saint, there will be merely the saints. So in the cognized, so there will be merely the cognized. So I think these lines can be equated with functional consciousness. Functional consciousness. So I think that is in accordance with Suttas. In accordance with the Suttas. I think that Abhidhamma gave just the name for the convenience sake. For the convenience sake, right? If we are mindful in our activities, there is no chance for ignorance and craving to arise. So if there is no ignorance and craving, karma. Here karma means wholesome or unwholesome, kusala or akusala, right? So we have been learning 12 akusala Citta, 12 unwholesome consciousness. Now we have been learning 8 sense sphere wholesome consciousness, right? So here Kamami. So up to now we have been learning wholesome and unwholesome consciousness, right? Action. So if there is no ignorance and craving, there will be no karma. Karma will not be formed. So Abhidhamma in Dipana originations is a karma formation, sankhara, right? No ignorance, no craving, no clinging. Then karma will not be formed. But it is still action, right? So such action can be called functional consciousness. There is function, but there is no kusala. There should be functional consciousness, Kriya Citta, right? Kriya Citta. So if you are doing something without mindfulness, right? Without mindfulness, with the craving or ignorance, that can be kusala. Even though you are doing good things, that can be kusala, right? So if you are doing mindfully, without ignorance and craving, so we can call it functional consciousness. Because there is no, karma is not formed, right? Karma will not be formed in such act. In such mental states arise in the worldlings, Putthojanas, the trainees. Here the trainee means Sotapanna, Sakadagami and Anagami, right? Because they are in the process of training. So Arahanta is called Asika. Asika. Asika means no need training. He already completed training, right? Already completed training. So we can call them as a functional consciousness. At least we can label them as a pseudo-functional consciousness. Pseudo-functional consciousness. Look like, right? It look like functional consciousness. Any question? Okay, we'll finish this one. So up to now, I hope you understand, right? Here, my message is, sometimes we do good things. We do not know what we are doing, right? The ignorance. And we have like and dislike, craving, right? Craving. Then it can be called kusala, wholesome deed, but Aran also do good things, same like us, but they do not have ignorance and craving. They do not have lobha, dosa, moha. For that reason, their action is called functional consciousness. The same function, right? The same function, but the different mental state. Different mental state. If not the same, we can call it pseudo functional consciousness, right? Now we have finished 24 sense sphere beautiful consciousness. Here, beautiful consciousness. So sense sphere wholesome consciousness with 8, and as a result of wholesome consciousness, we will have resident consciousness. So corresponding 8. So sense sphere resident consciousness, Kāmāvacara vipaka Citta, and number 3. So if the Aran do good things, so we can call them their Citta, their consciousness as a sense sphere functional consciousness with 8. So altogether 24, right? Altogether 24. Okay. Very good point. Okay. A very tough question, I must say. I also think this one. Anyway, I'm happy to hear this point. It's very very subtle point. So as the arahant, right? They are full of wisdom. They will not do without wisdom. As I said earlier, so here, avijja and moha are the same, right? So avijja and moha, that means not knowing. So not knowing, basically not knowing wholesome and unwholesome deed, right? So if we have ignorance, no wisdom, right? No wisdom. That means if we have wisdom, no ignorance or moha. But so that the way Sadhu defines is quite straightforward, right? But here, another one is not knowing Four Noble Truth, right? Not knowing suffering, not knowing the cause of suffering, not knowing the cessation of suffering, not knowing the path that leads to cessation of suffering, Four Noble Truth, right? It's quite clear if you understand in this way. But here, dissociated from knowledge, right? Jnana Vipayodha. Jnana is actually wisdom. Vipayodha means not having. Dissociated with the wisdom. So that means no wisdom, right? No wisdom. So it implies that the Buddha and Arahant also they do, right? They do without wisdom. According to this list. So therefore, I think that they are at the time of Third Buddhist Council, at the time of King Asoka, 3rd century BC. So there was a wrong view. There are many wrong views regarding with the Arahant, right? So if we just study this one, it will lead to misunderstanding. I don't have exact answer for this one. I do not know how to answer this one. I also know that this one, right? So let's say for Puthojana, okay, for normal people it's okay. Sometimes we do, right? As I explained that we have a lot of compassion, loving kindness for those who are very needy, right? Then we help them. We help them. We do not know. We do not know where they, whether they will benefit or not. Because of compassion, loving kindness, you give away, right? You do not know whether it is beneficial or not. It will reach those needy people or not, right? But as the ordinary people, we can interpret, dissociated from knowledge. But for Arahants and the Buddha, right? I think they are full of wisdom and no ignorance. No ignorance. How to interpret? So I must say that I do not know for this question.
Is it because like Arahant or Buddha, they have the supernatural power to see? They can see what is the outcome, like whether a person has got merits to actually fulfill this task. So that if they give they do this and then they know that this person will actually benefit, they can see. Can it be that because of this?
No, every arahant does do not have a supernatural power. Only Sam, right? Only Sam. I think is a better. How can I say? It's a difficult part, right? No. Sam. So one story. Actually, and if I tell the story, it's a lot of time. You know, one arahant is walking, and another man is staying with that arahant. So normally they go for Pinapada every day. The arahant go as a senior man, he go as a friend, and junior man follow. So junior man said that I want to see arahants. I want to see arahants. And actually the senior man, what they say is, I do not know exactly. So what he implied, actually he didn't say openly. So he's, how to say, I forgot this one. I think after they come back from Armstrong, so as you know, Arahant is hungry. So on the way, he sit down in one place and he eat it. The junior man, he doesn't like it. He doesn't like it. Like this, even Arahant, you do not know. But anyway, every Arahant doesn't have a supernatural power. Only Sam, right? Only Sam. Actually, Arahant means how to say, the total destruction of craving and ignorance. Very simple one. That is the meaning of Arahant, right? Total destruction of craving. There is no craving, no ignorance, no defilements. So here, ignorance means, of course, sometimes they do not know the name of the people. They may forget the name of the people and the place and where to go. They may not know. But here, ignorance, not knowing me for noble truth. The suffering, the cause of suffering, etc. Right? That's all Arahant, for the Arahant. But supernatural power is another thing. So this is, we call it Abhidhamma. Abhidhamma. And then in the 4th chapter we have to learn this one, right? So here, nothing to do with this. Nothing to do with this. Sorry, I don't know. There are certain questions I'm very difficult to answer. For? Mm. here I think the definition of knowledge. So what we have to understand is knowledge, jnana. Jnana means knowing. The same with the amoha, the opposite of moha, right? They are almost the same, almost the same. But the word jnana is used especially in the mundane consciousness, for the mundane consciousness. So jnana is not knowing what is good and what is bad. Normally we do good things, right? Sometimes we do not know it. So without dissociated from knowledge. But of course, Bhikkhu Bodhi gives the comment that so dissociated from knowledge means no ignorance. But I think it doesn't make much sense. Huh? It doesn't make much sense. So anyway, I think there are some Guru Vacha things. Anyone who want to? Okay. Sorry? Oh. No way. Because Lopa, Dosa, Moha. So we have land, right? We have land. So I think we're not get angry, whether to human beings or the weather or anything. No angry. But of course he will stay. Sometimes he may shout without anger. To frighten the people. Sometimes, at the temple, but very rare. Sometimes we have to shout at the people. Some people came to steal the money. We know them there. So we have to shout them, frighten them. But of course, I say already people a little bit anger. But other hand, no anger. But he will still frighten that person. Right? He will still frighten that person. So therefore,
they apply because there's 20 Cittas for the functional Cittas.
Yeah.
18 belongs to Buddha and Arahant, and
Yeah.
2 belongs to the Buddha Jhana.
Yeah.
So for the voting side, could it be the last 2 refers to those who may doing functional Kriya but may not be fully understood the wisdom?
that means Arahant?
No, the other the Buddha Jhana who is practicing the other 2 Cittas.
Oh no, nothing. Actually, we are learning 8. Wait, what is it? The last one, sense sphere functional consciousness. This solely for Arahants and the Buddha. The other 2 is a mind or consciousness, right? Sorry, mind or advertence. So when we take something as a Puthojana, as a trainees, so there is a mind or advertence. And also another one is fight door advertence. So when you're going to see the fight door advertence, only 3. So these are rootless. So therefore, even since we are functional consciousness, I also think this point before. I no answer yet. So anyway, there may be some answer, but do not think that even though. So therefore, my point is very clear. So I don't believe that the Buddha preached the whole Abhidhamma Pitaka. So actually, Abhidhamma Pitaka is just further interpretation of the teaching from Sutta Pitaka. That means sometime, so I always give one example. As a young kids, you may have what is it? The jewelry you wear in your hand. What is it? Sorry? No, here. Bracelet, right? So when you are suppose 5 years old, then your mother gives you bracelets, right? then you're getting older and older. Then when you're 20 years old, it doesn't fit you. But that you trying to fix your hand to put that bracelet in your hand. So sometimes Abhidhamma make it like this. Even in this case, right? For Sotapan, for Puthojana, sorry, I may get wrong. But what I think is, for 8 wholesome consciousness, it is all right. Because sometimes we do good things without thinking anything, right? Without thinking anything. So that means dissociated from knowledge. It is acceptable. But Arahant and the Buddha, very difficult, right? Very difficult. But what I dare to say is, the Buddha, for the Buddha, I mean mostly the first type, accompanied by joy, associated with the knowledge, and unprompted, right? For the Buddha. Okay, so we have 24 sense sphere, beautiful consciousness. So remember that here we have to take note the word beautiful. The word beautiful. Sense sphere, beautiful consciousness. So these three type of consciousness are given the name Maha. Actually, it's a commentary explanation. So the writer at the later time, they give the name Maha. So as they are greater in numbers compared to other Cittas. So therefore it became like a Mahakusala Citta, great wholesome Cittas. Mahavipaka Citta, great resident Citta. Mahakriya Citta, great functional Cittas. Because they have a greater numbers, greater in numbers compared to other Cittas. So look about great functional consciousness. Here we have 8, right? In the rootless consciousness, we have only 3, right? Only 3. So greater in numbers compared to rootless functional consciousness. And later we have to learn on 5 material functional consciousness. So only 5. So this one is greater in numbers, right? So therefore we use it Mahakriya, Mahavipaka, Mahakusala. Here Maha means greater. Sometimes Mahavihara. Maha means big temple, right? And we can call our temple Mahavihara, right? Mangala, Mahavihara, great temple. It's so big. So actually this is just for knowledge, but when we learn in Burmese, we use this one, Mahakusala, Mahavipaka, Mahakriya, right? So I think for now we will use only in English, right? For you, I think to remember Pali a bit difficult. Now we finish 54 sense sphere consciousness. So as a Buddha, as the ordinary people, so only these 54 consciousness occurs in our mind. Not even all of them, right? Most of the consciousness. So number 1, wholesome consciousness, unwholesome consciousness, akusala citta. So 12 unwholesome consciousness, 80 rootless consciousness, ahetuka citta, and 24 sense sphere, beautiful consciousness. So here, beautiful, Kāmāvacara, Sovana citta. So altogether we have 54. Unwholesome consciousness, rootless consciousness, sense sphere, beautiful consciousness. So I think at least you have to remember by looking at the book. At least, right? Even you cannot remember. I think if you can memorize by heart it will be better. Not a bit difficult, right? Not a bit difficult. Then by way of kind, jati, so we have 54. So we can categorize 54 consciousness by way of kind. Here, kind means jati, different category, a different type, right? So kind. Unwholesome Citta. So we have 12. So we have 4 type of kind: jati, unwholesome, wholesome, resident, and functional, right? Functional. These 4. So we have unwholesome, 12 unwholesome Citta. We have wholesome, 8 wholesome Citta. Kusala. So up to here, so we have learned only 8 wholesome Citta, right? We have only 8 wholesome Cittas. So it is among the sincere, beautiful consciousness, right? Then number 3, resident Citta, vipaka. So we have 23. In the rootless 80 rootless consciousness, so we have 7 unwholesome resident consciousness. So if you do unwholesome things, you will have 7 unwholesome consciousness, right? Resident consciousness. We have 7. But if you are doing good things, and you will have another 8 wholesome consciousness. Wholesome consciousness. That means you will see good things, you will hear good things like that, etc. Right? So this is 7 and 8, 50, right? Then we have, since we are beautiful consciousness, we have the 8 functional consciousness. So 50 and 8, 23, right? 23. Then we have functional Citta, 11 up to now. So among the rootless consciousness, we have 3 functional consciousness. And mind or adverting, fight or adverting, and also smile producing consciousness. 3 functional consciousness among the rootless consciousness, right? Then up to now we have learned 8 functional consciousness. So together 11. So this is a by way of kind, right? Total we have 54. So I don't how to say. I won't let you count all these one. If so, I think we cannot continue, right? Just maybe pay attention what I explain, right? Pay attention. By way of feeling. By way of feeling. So we have joint feeling, joyful feeling, and we have equanimity feeling, we have displeasure feeling, and pleasure feeling, and pain feeling. So in this way altogether we have 54. Here, joy feeling. So when you are doing something, whether it is unwholesome or wholesome, you do with the joy, right? Joyfully, heartily, whether it's good or bad. So among the unwholesome, 12 unwholesome consciousness, among the 12 unwholesome consciousness, when you want something with the greed, right? Sometimes you will do accompanied by joy. Sometimes you will do accompanied by equanimity. So 4, right? With the joy accompanied by joy, 4 consciousness, accompanied by equanimity, 4 consciousness. And 2 hatred. 2 consciousness rooted in hatred. So these are displeasure. So therefore we have 2 displeasure. So wherever you do something with the anger or hatred, always displeasure, right? So you're not happy for that. Displeasure feeling 2. Then among the rootless consciousness, 80 rootless consciousness, we have 2 joyful feeling. Joyful feeling. Smile producing consciousness. It is with the joy, right? Another one is, so as a result of good deed, then you will hear, you will see, you will hear, etc. something, right? That object, when you are investigating that object, sometimes accompanied by joy, sometimes accompanied by equanimity. So therefore, among the 80 rootless consciousness, 2 joyful feeling. So in the unwholesome, 12 unwholesome, there are 4 joyful feeling, and among the 80 rootless consciousness, there are 2 joyful feeling. Altogether, 6, right? Then among the 24 sincere beautiful consciousness, you have accompanied by joy, 12 consciousness, accompanied by equanimity, 12 consciousness. So if we combine 6 and 12, the 80, right? 80. Is it boring? I think we have to do it. Otherwise, if we go next chapter, a bit difficult, right? A bit difficult. Not very difficult. If you maybe pay attention to, for 1 day or 2 days, you can digest easily. So regarding with the equanimity feeling, the consciousness rooted in greed, 4 equanimous feeling, and the consciousness rooted in delusion, 2, right? Altogether 6. Among the 12 unwholesome Citta and 6 equanimous feeling. So among the 80 rootless consciousness, so we already excluded 2 giant feeling, 2 giant feeling. Then we have one painful feeling, 1 pleasure feeling. So we have to exclude 4. That means the rest are equanimous feeling, 40 equanimous feeling. So 6 from unwholesome Citta and 40 from rootless consciousness, altogether 20. Then another 12 from beautiful consciousness. So that means altogether 32, right? 32. That's all. A little bit difficult, but we have to do it, right? Then if you do not digest, by looking at the book, you will understand, right? You will understand. Especially the main point is joy, equanimity, displeasure, pleasure and pain, right? Pleasure and pain. Next one, by way of association. Association means associated with wisdom, dissociated from wisdom, and associated with wrong view, and dissociated from wrong view, like this, and also associated with doubt, associated with restlessness, right? Restlessness, all these ones. So that means the consciousness rooted in greed. Consciousness rooted in greed. So we have 4 associated with the wrong view, right? Another 4 dissociated from wrong view. 4. And consciousness rooted in hatred, we don't need to count, right? Oh, sorry. This is associated with the displeasure, right? Associated with the displeasure. And the consciousness rooted in delusion, we have associated with the doubt and associated with restlessness. So altogether we have 8 associated one. 8 associated in the unwholesome consciousness, and 4 consciousness, 4 dissociated from wrong view, right? It's a little bit boring. Then, as you know, 80 rootless consciousness, we cannot say whether it is associated or dissociated, because not mentioned there, right? So therefore, it will be neither. It will be neither, right? 80 rootless consciousness will be neither associated or dissociated, right? Neither dissociated or associated. Okay. Then in the 24 sincere beautiful consciousness, among the 24 beautiful consciousness, then we have a 12 associated with the knowledge, 12 associated with the knowledge, and 12 dissociated from knowledge. 12, right? 12. So that means if we count associated with something, so associated with something means it can be associated with wrong view or associated with knowledge, right? If we combine all, 8 from unwholesome Citta and 12 from the beautiful consciousness, altogether 20. And dissociated from wrong view or knowledge, either, right? Or dissociated from knowledge. Yeah. Then dissociated from wrong view, we have 4 from akusala Citta. And we have 12 from dissociated from knowledge. That means 4 and 12. 16, right? 16. So that means 80 rootless consciousness are neither associated with or dissociated from. Right? I think if you read the book, you will understand. Now I think you may be very, how to say, a little bit confused. I think. So altogether 54. So in this regard, Bhikkhu Bodhi used different way of counting. I think you just look at the book, right? By way of prompting, sometimes we are always saying prompted, unprompted, right? Prompted, unprompted. So actually in 12 akusala Citta, so we have a unprompted 70 unprompted consciousness, 70 prompted consciousness, neither unprompted or prompted, 20. So here neither unprompted and prompted me. So 2 consciousness rooted in delusion. Because in that two consciousness rooted in delusion, so it doesn't mention about whether it's prompted or unprompted, right? And also 12, 80 rootless consciousness, altogether 20. So they are neither unprompted or prompted. Regarding with the unprompted one, 5 from unwholesome consciousness. And regarding with the prompted 5 from unwholesome consciousness and 12 from beautiful consciousness, altogether 70. In the same way, so we have 5 prompted consciousness and from unwholesome Citta and 12 prompted consciousness from beautiful consciousness, altogether 70. I think better leave it, right? So my message is, I think you go back to the book and try to count, right? Trying to count in this way. But the last one, what I said, just follow this one. Bhikkhu Bodhi count in different way. I don't know why he do that like this. Okay. Then altogether will be 54. So if you are, the reason why we are doing is to master the counting, so the number of consciousness, So we have 89. So if we elaborate, there will be 121, right? 121. Now let's go to next session, higher teachings. Jhanas and the patent fruit magga, phala. So all these three are known as Abhidhamma. So which means the teachings higher than the 10 causes of wholesome deeds. 10 causes of wholesome deeds, so practiced by lay devotees. Actually, ulterior higher manosa human being. Dhamma, the teaching they practice. Normally, as a ordinary people, so we do 10 causes of wholesome deed. You refrain from killing, number 1. You refrain from stealing, etc. So with that, we have 3 in body, and 4 in speech, 3 in body. Oh, sorry, mente, right? So and then we have learned this one. So you just go back to your note, right? Go back to your note. So, and when we learn in beautiful consciousness, we use dana, sila, bhavana, right? It's a different way. So 10 base of meritorious deed. But this one is 10 causes of wholesome deed. Different way of teaching. But they're the same. Different way of teaching, right? So actually, jhanas, the magga and phala. So these teachings are higher than the wholesome practices that we are following. So therefore, I use it higher teachings. So as a Buddhist monk, so we don't have to tell the people that I have jhana. Expecting something. But if I think that I surely have jhana, it's okay. Without, I don't have jhana, I don't have any magga and phala, then I want to get something from the devotees. Then I pretend that I have jhana, I have magga and phala. Then the moment I tell them, I'm no longer a monk. I fall from being a monk automatically. This is one of the 4 great offenses. So if we break those 4 offenses, that means we no longer be a monk. very. So therefore, in the Vinaya rules, so we have a Uttari Manosadhamma. So the Buddha used Uttari Manosadhamma. But of course, we can tell them, I do dana, I keep precept, then I meditate. It's okay. Just telling like that is okay. But of course, it's not good, right? It's not honest if I'm expecting something, right? Not honest. But if I tell the people that I have jhana, the path and magga and phala, so that means fall from being monk. It's very great offenses. Uttari Manosadhamma. So we have 27 Jhāna Consciousness, and we have supramundane 8 supramundane consciousness. Altogether, how many? Altogether, 35, right? 35, altogether 35. Sometimes supramundane is used as a transcendental consciousness, right? Transcendental consciousness. Later we will learn that one. Now we have a 27 Jhāna consciousness. So 27 Jhāna consciousness are called Mahagata in not only in Abhidhamma but also in Suttas. So in Satipatthana Sutta, so you will learn this one, Mahagata. So when the Buddha teach Citta Nupassana, the contemplation of the mind. So if you have Mahagata Citta, you know that you have Mahagata Citta. That is a contemplation of the mind, right? So what I want to say is, 27 Jhāna Consciousness are called Mahagata. It means Citta Citta, right? Citta Cittas. So that means attained by only great people, not normal people. So if you attain jhana, you are not normal one. The number one, 5 material sphere consciousness. So we have 5 material sphere consciousness. Dubhavachara Citta. So we have 12 immaterial sphere consciousness. Sometimes translate as a formless consciousness, right? Formless consciousness. Immaterial sphere consciousness. So altogether 27. 27. 5 material sphere consciousness. It's a very long word. So I think you must know why we use this one. Rupavachara Citta, 5 material sphere consciousness. So 50 type of 5 material consciousness, which arise mostly in the 55 material sphere planes. Normally we have 65 material sphere planes. So man then, one realms is the only material, no mind. So therefore, for them there is no mind. We don't need to learn. Those beings are nothing to do with the mind. For now we are learning about the mind, right? So this chapter is nothing to do with them. Only we learn about matter or material phenomena. We have to learn this one, right? So man 60, only 55 material sphere planes, can have all these 50 type of 5 material consciousness. Mostly it can so if we practice, and we can also attain such consciousness in the human realm, but rare, very rare, right? Very rare. So the reason why we call 5 material is, so when we practice, before you attain jhanas, these jhanas, so the object that you are meditating on, that you are contemplating on, is very refined. Just like when you are practicing breathing meditations. So when you attain jhana, your breathing is very refined, getting soft. The moment you attain 4th jhana, totally stop. So therefore, 5 material me. So the moment when you attain jhana, this consciousness, so the object that you are meditating on is refined, very soft. Therefore, we use it 5 material sphere consciousness, right? Of course, compared to human beings, the body of the devas in 6 heavenly realms also very fine, very soft. Therefore, we cannot see them. So here, 5 material mean not like that. So when they meditate, breathing or any meditation object, so the moment they attain this type of consciousness, meditation object became refined and soft, right? Therefore, it is called 5 material sphere consciousness. So if you want to know more about this one, go to Comprehensive Meaning of Abhidhamma, page number 30, Handbook of Abhidhamma Study, Volume 1, page 55, right? Definition of jhana. So actually the commentary, I will mention commentary explanation of jhana first, then go to suttas, right? So you can compare these two. Commentary defines jhana in 2 ways. Number 1, closely contemplating the object. So when you are meditating, breathing meditations, then you contemplate, closely contemplate on breathing. Then your mind will go away and come back to meditation object, breathing. Closely comprehending, right? The object. So this is number one interpretation. The next one is burning up or cremating opposite mental states. So here, the opposite mental state means 5 hindrances. Nīvaraṇa. We call it nīvaraṇa. This is another meaning. Totally different, right? The meaning totally different. So according to this definition, cremating opposite mental state. 5 hindrances. 5 hindrances. So that means the moment you attain jhana, so there is no hindrances in your mind. In your mind. You cremate them. You totally destroy them. Burn them up, right? So this is called jhana. Two definitions. So this is what the commentary said. But regarding with before we learn jhana, we need to know 5 hindrances. So when you meditate, you will have 5 enemies. These are nothing but 5 hindrances. So if you can overcome 5 hindrances, you will attain jhana, right? You will attain jhana. So that means you need to know your enemies. 5 hindrances. I think to study 5 hindrances, I have given the page number. I think it's good to go and read. Regarding with the handbook called Abhidhamma studies, and I have given the soft copy, right? Soft copy. Maybe after second chapter, maybe I will distribute. But for now, I think we don't have inner book. We don't have inner book for that, right? 5 hindrances. Number 1, sensory desire. Sensory desire. Sometimes we translate as a sensual desire. Sensual desire. Sensory desire. The same. Kāmāvacara, nīvaraṇa. Number 2, vyapada. Number 3, sloth and torpor. Tinameda. Number 4, restless and worry. Udicca, Kokkocha. Number 5, doubt, Vicikiccha. These are 5 hindrances. And you may notice that sloth and torpor are different mental factors in Cittasika, right? And restlessness and worry are different 2 different mental factors in Cittasika. But here, they have the same characteristics. So therefore, the Buddha combined all these ones. Actually, this type of counting, 5 hindrances, are according to the suttas. But according to Abhidhamma, avijja, ignorance is added as a hindrances. So altogether, 6, right? In Abhidhamma. Okay, let's learn one by one. In Sankarawa Sutta, the Buddha explained 5 hindrances with the simile. It's very beautiful simile he gave. So one of the Brahmin called Sankarawa, he approached the Buddha and he said that, Gautama Buddha, I learned a lot of verses from Veda, but I do not remember them. Even I repeatedly learned. I learned by heart. Sometimes I forgot. What is the reason? And the Buddha said that the reason is 5 hindrances. If we have 5 hindrances, everything we learn we forget. Even we learn by heart repeatedly, right? For those who are going to take YMBA exam, I think you have to remove 5 hindrances. The Buddha has given the way. I think very easy. Just look at number 2, away, right? iwi means you do not like. While you are studying, the anger of iwi came into your mind. Cannot study, right? It's a very clear example, right? So therefore, if we have 5 hindrances, then we forget everything. The Buddha said that. Not only that, the Buddha said that if we have 5 hindrances, we do not really know the good of our own good, and the good of other, and the good of both, right? We do not know it. So therefore, removing 5 hindrances are very important. The reason why here, I may forget, so therefore ignorance is not added in the 5 hindrances in the suttas. That is the reason. As you know, here ignorance means not knowing Four Noble Truth, right? Not knowing Four Noble Truth. The moment you attain 5 material jhana, in immaterial jhanas, you still have attachment to these meditative bliss because of ignorance. As you know, these jhana also considered as a suffering. These are under dukkha. You do not know it as a dukkha. So therefore, the moment even you attain jhanas, so you still have the ignorance. Higher, very refined ignorance, right? So therefore, so in the suttas, ignorance is not added in the 5 hindrances. Even you attain those jhana, you still have ignorance. You cannot overcome ignorance. So only you become arahant. Totally you can overcome, right? So therefore, we have only 5 hindrances in the suttas, not in the Abhidhamma, 6 hindrances. 5 hindrances define the purity and serenity of the mind. So if we have avi, if we have sensory desire, our mind is deluded. Our mind is defined. Our mind became dirty. So therefore, it's called nīvaraṇa. And also, they weaken the wisdom. So if we have 5 hindrances, our wisdom is weakened. So they hinder the mind from seeing one's own good, the good of others, and the good of both. So these are given a simile in the Sangharava Sutta. Regarding with the sensory desire, the Buddha gives the example of the water mixed with the variety of color, various color. If you put tamarind powder in the soda, the Buddha said that in the water, you put tamarind powder, can you see your face in the water? Cannot. Diluted and defined. So just like that, if we have sensory desire in our mind is deluded. You cannot attain jhana, right? You cannot attain jhana. The number 2, avi, vyapara. So the Buddha gives the example of the water heated over a fire and boiling. Look at your face in the boiling water. Can you see it clearly? Cannot, right? Cannot. Like that. So when we are angry, we do not know. So our own good, the good of other, and the good of both, right? And also we do not know. So needless to say about the nature of mind and matter, right? So therefore, the avi or anger is just like a heated water and boiling water, right? Number 3, sloth and torpor, tinameda. And the water covered with the moss and water plants. In the pool or in the river, in the stream, right? a lot of moss and a lot of plants, water plants, and you cannot see your face, right? The water is not clean. Just like that, so if we have sloth and torpor, sleepy, drowsiness, right? Then we cannot focus. Our mind is deluded. Then before restlessness and worry, the water stirred by the wind, shaking, right? So if your mind is restless, you're thinking here and there, you cannot concentrate your mind, one object. When you are studying, your mind is stirred by the wind, thinking here and there, right? Cannot concentrate. So that just restless and worry. So if we have restless and worry in your meditation, of course, most obvious, right? Most obvious. Stirred by the wind. Number 5, doubt, Vichiketa, is like the muddy water. If you have a doubt, then you, just like in muddy water, you cannot see, right? Totally, deluded. These are 5 hindrances. So they will hinder your mind freeing from, the negative emotions, lobha, dosa, moha, right? So that means if you do not weaken those hindrances, you cannot attain jhana. To attain jhana, you have to overcome these 5 hindrances, right? 5 hindrances, especially for meditation. So meditation master will explain that these are 5 or your enemies. So if while you are meditating, you are thinking about eating something, listening music, sensory desire, right? Sensory desire. You cannot get jhana. Then ill will, right? You don't like painful feeling like this. Ill will, right? Ill will. You don't like somebody is making noise outside. Ill will. Like this. If you have those ill will, these are hindrances for your meditation. Sleepy, sloth and torpor, cannot, right? Hindrances. So actually, sloth and torpors are different mental factors in Cittasika, but here we count it as a one. The reason is they are the opposite of effort or energy, KIRIYA. So if you have energy, so all these cannot come, right? Cannot come. Then restless and worry, of course, cannot. No way, right? No way. And doubt. So if you have a doubt about your meditation method, doubt about your meditation masters, doubt about the teachings, especially the teaching, the trainers, doubt about the tripajins, you cannot take, right? So these are 5 hindrances. So regarding with the 5 hindrances, jhana temporarily suppress 5 hindrances. So that means when you attain jhana, you suppress 5 hindrances. You cannot, you cannot remove totally, but only when you become arahant, right? You remove all the 5 hindrances. So jhana, the moment you attain jhana, you temporarily suppress 5 hindrances. When the mind is free from these hindrances, it becomes like a polished mirror. A polished mirror. And you can see your face very clearly, right? Very clearly. So one can see the real nature of mind and matter. So what is happening in your mind, in your body, so you will know it very clearly if you don't have them. So therefore, the Buddha to be Prince Siddhartha, he became the Buddha based on jhana, 4 jhana, right? 4 jhana. So therefore, I quoted one line from that sutta, Maha Saccaka Sutta. So in this sutta, the Buddha the Buddha taught to Citta, a great debater. He taught to how he became the Buddha, how he practiced asceticism, and how he attained enlightenment. So there, the Buddha taught that by developing the four jhana, the Sutta mentioned that by developing the four jhana, he gained the perfect one-pointedness of the mind. His mind was now like a polished mirror, where everything is reflected in its true perspective, in its true nature. That's very important. So based on the jhana, as you know, the jhana, mind is very quiet, very tranquil, and focused on meditation object. Became like a polished mirror. So there is no delusion in his mind. There is no ignorance in his mind. Then he directs his mind to the previous lives, and the first life, second life, and millions and billions of life. So he understands, he see through the four, according to the Sutta, four jhana, right? After attaining the fourth jhana, and his mind is just like a mirror, polished mirror, very clear, and he inclines his mind to see the previous lives, right? Actually, if we can see our previous life, then we will have a very unwavering faith to the triple gem. Here now, we do not have our own experience. We cannot see our past life. So we have a lot of doubt, right? A lot of question about that. Here, Bodhisattva, Buddha to be, and he inclined his mind to see his previous life. He see millions and billions of life, right? Then he trying to attain jhana again, and he inclined his mind to see the life of other beings. Not only his life, right? Other beings' life. Actually, when you see the life of other people, previous life of other beings, and we will know, right, the karma and the result of the karma. So in second state, the Buddha said that by seeing the life of other beings, he knows that because of this they go to hell, because of this they go to heaven, like this. He knows it. Then after that, at the last watch of the night, we can divide the night into three. Normally, last Wednesday, this is Vasa day, right? Vasa day. I was talking to Bhante Citta is asking to me when the Buddha became the Buddha. I told him that by the time we celebrate Vasa day, the Buddha haven't attained yet. Only after that night, in the morning, we call it morning, the Thursday morning, around 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, like this, before the dawn, right? Before the dawn. So that means we trying to celebrate Buddha's enlightenment before he attained. We're joking. Anyway, see, the more important thing is celebrating, right? So what I'm going to do, we can divide the night into three. So at the first watch of the night, the Buddha inclined his mind to see the previous his previous life. Obey nivasano satinya, right? And second, he inclined his mind through the jhana, right? As you know, he attained the four jhana. His mind is like a polished mirror. Can see very clearly. If you want to attain supernatural power, we have to go from four jhana. If you want. So the second watch or night, he inclined his mind to see the life or the previous life of other beings. By that time he knows that the walking of the karma. He understands dependent originations by himself. Then at the last watch or night, he inclined his mind to see the distraction of taste. Asvakhyanya. Distraction of taste means understanding Four Noble Truths. The first two knowledge, he knows the suffering, right? And also the origin of suffering. And he understands how to stop it. How to stop it and how to practice it, right? The Four Noble Truths. Then, after knowing Four Noble Truths, we call it, he became the Buddha. If you attain Four Noble Truths, if you understand Four Noble Truths fully, you can call yourself your Buddha. No, not joking, not joking. We have a Sammasan Buddha, number one. We have Vicheka Buddha. We have Sāvaka Buddha. We have a Sāvaka Buddha. Three types of Buddha, right? Three types of Buddha. Any question? Before jhana, maybe this one. This is from Digha Nikāya. This is from Digha Nikāya, translation of Bhikkhu Bodhi. Before, actually in the Samanya Phala Sutta, the discourse on the fruit of reclusion. So actually in this Sutta, King Ajatasattu asks, so why you became a monk? What is the fruit of being a monk, right? Being a monk. So last year, a group of students from SMU came to Mangala Vihara, and I was requested to sit in their discussion. So actually, I invite the questions. So the question there is, why you became a monk? So I give a very simple answer. I want to be happy. I want to get happiness. So therefore, I became a monk. And I continue to be a monk. Right? Actually, the Sutta mentions different stages of becoming a monk. Right? The fruit of a monk. So here, before the Buddha mentioned 4 jhana, and he mentioned about this one, these lines. When he sees that these 5 hindrances have been abandoned within himself, gladness arises. If there is no hindrances in your mind, then you're very glad, very happy, right? Glad or moksha. When he is gladdened, rapture arises. Here, rapture, piti. As you know, the rapture is the factor, jhana factor, right? One of the jhana factor. So you have to know it this way. But this is not very powerful one. But of course, the rapture, the moment you attain jhana, very powerful. So when you have a rapture, then your body becomes tranquil. Rapture, tranquil. Tranquil in body, he experiences happiness, sukha. Being happy, his mind became concentrated. His mind became concentrated. Citta samadhiyati. This is the process. Before you attain jhana, so you have to remove 5 hindrances in your meditations. Then you will have gladness, then rapture, tranquility, happiness in your mind. So if you have bodily happiness, then you your mind is becoming concentrated. So if your mind is concentrated, you can attain jhanas, right? I think jhana will be next week. Any question? Any questions? Okay, good. Joy and happiness. You mean here, there is no what the joy. You mean gladness or rapture? Normally, piti is translated as a sometime joy, right? Sometime joy, sometime sometime rapture, sometime zest. So therefore, I mention with the Pali word. It's very important. Sometimes the translation, the use is the same in English, but the word in English is different. Here, the joy me actually here gladness. I will say that gladness. Normally, before we learn the Noble Eightfold Path, I think so, Noble Eightfold Path. So we learn one suttas. So that sutta mentions a gradual process of our mind before we attain before we attain enlightenment, right? Enlightenment. So sometime as we have to practice sila. We have to observe sila. So if you know that we have full of mental purity in our mind, so we are not breaking the precept, then we have gladness in our mind or joy in our mind. So the joy strengthens our rapture, piti. Then from piti you will have tranquility of the mind. Your mind will be tranquil. Then through that you will have happiness, bodily happiness. So if your body is happy or pleasure, but here Bhikkhu will use pleasure, then you will have a concentration will arise easily. Look at in your meditation. If you are struggling with the pain, you cannot get concentration, right? If you are struggling with the pain, then you continue to meditate, then you have rapture in your mind, and you have bodily happiness in your mind. There's no pain at all in your mind. Then concentrations will rise easily. So if you have concentrations, then you will attain jhanas. Step by step. So this is the way to jhana. But the sutta we learned before the Noble Eightfold Path, it is the way to enlightenment, right? The way to enlightenment. Actually, we can go to enlightenment even from this state. So you can meditate on rapture or joy. Suppose when you're meditating, there's no jhana, but you're joyful in your mind, right? Then you're trying to concentrate on that joy. Joy arises, disappears. A different level of joy arises, disappears. Another strong joy, strong type of joy arises in your mind. Then you observe it, arising and passing away, arising and passing away. That is vipassana. Then even from that state, you can become arahant. So that means even before you attain jhana, you can go to vipassana, right? But of course, after attaining jhana, your mind is like a polished mirror, right? You can see it very clearly. So the level of your concentration is sharper and sharper. Then you can see it, the nature of mind, right? The nature of joy arises, disappear very clearly. Just like a computer, right? science computer, very strong, right? Very quick. And you can see the picture very clearly. Like not the computer, the camera, right? Camera. It depends on the lenses. So if you have a very strong lenses, you can see the picture very clearly. If the lenses are not good, cannot see. But anyway, you can still see it, right? But you can go to vipassana from this state as well, from rapture or tranquility or happiness. Especially most of the, according to the stories from commentaries and suttas, so most of the arahant, they go from the rapture, piti. Piti is the excitement, right? It's connected with the body. When you hear very big news in your life, excited here, right? That is rapture. That is rapture. When you are meditating also, and you will have rapture in your mind, because it will affect your body as well as your mind. But shaking, the nature is shaking. But it's clear to see as a vipassana, right? As the insight rises in your body, excitement rises, right? Then will disappear, right? So therefore, normally they go from rapture.
Is there a difference between Visapada concentration
Sorry?
in mind, the Visapada concentration in mind, and one-pointedness, one-pointedness?
If I can get it.
Visapada
Huh?
concentration.
Oh, vipassana. Okay.
Concentration and one-pointed mindfulness. Are they the same?
Oh, not the same, not the same. Actually, one pointedness is talking about jhana, samatha. You concentrate one point, right? So this is samatha. But inside me, based on that samatha, you trying to see the nature of mind or the nature of the body. In your body, if you have a strong concentration, you can see the material phenomena arise and disappear. Trying to see them. Then it is vipassana. It's vipassana. Okay, yeah. Desire became craving. Very good question. I think that, as you know, when we learn about craving, we learn about desire, quoting one sutta, right? So in that sutta, a Brahmin called Onaba, the name is very unique. So he asked Venerable Ananda. So actually, two sutta regarding with the craving and desire connected to Nibbana. So these two suttas are connected with Venerable Ananda, not the Buddha, right? Not the Buddha. As you know, people normally say that without desire, what we can do? We cannot do anything, right? First, we must have a desire. So by that time, I give an example of crossing the stream, right? Using, I forgot this, right? Huh? Wine. Vine. Using the vine. There is a stream, right? But you are this side. There is a big tree nearby the stream. So this side is very dangerous, full of wild animals. So they are approaching you. So you have to cross over the stream. You don't have boat. So what you can do is using that vine. You're trying to swing your body. So finally, and when you think that you can reach the other shore, then you swing your body and you have to let go this vine. You have to abandon this vine. But if you still have attachment to the vine, you cannot go to the other shore. Quite clear, right? The vine is nothing but desire to attain Nibbana. As you know, the story of Venerable Anuruddha, he went to attain Nibbana, very strong desire. Right? Very strong desire. Sometimes that making a hand, a blocking stone, right? A blocking stone. So here, what I want to say is desire to attain Nibbana, right? To attain Nibbana, you have to let go of that desire. Of course, as the Arahant and the Buddha, they have desire to eat. They have desire to drink, and they have desire to give a Dhamma talk and go to taking a trip, right? Desire. I think we have to understand based on the functional consciousness. Functional consciousness. According to Abhidhamma, so desire or chanda, we're talking about chanda, right? Chanda associate with the all type of consciousness. All type of consciousness. Of course, it depends on who you are, right? So if you are Arahant, so that you cannot, your mind will not associate with unwholesome consciousness. We're not associated with the wholesome consciousness. Only functional consciousness. Of course, there will be desire, but no craving, no ignorance and craving. No ignorance and craving, right? Craving. And it's very difficult. Using, the language is very difficult to explain. Very difficult to explain. Of course, there is a desire in the Buddha and Arahant. So we cannot say that. So therefore, Opola Rahula, he used the word desire to translate the craving. Sorry. To translate the word tanha. Dukkha, suffering, right? Dukkha samudaya, he translates the desire. He uses tanha as a desire. For me, I prefer the word craving. I don't know whether it's correct or not, because I'm not a native speaker. So therefore, the words are very difficult to, very tricky. So I think desire, if we understand according to Abhidhamma, it associates with every type of consciousness, right? So as the Arahant and the Buddha, they have a desire, but it's associated with the functional consciousness. We have desire as a normal Puthojana, but it can be desire can be associated with the wholesome, unwholesome, right? Unwholesome consciousness like this. Okay, thank you for questions, because it is very important to ask questions. So by knowing the questions, I know what to teach. Otherwise, you have to listen what I teach. So I welcome all the questions from the email as well as from the class as well, right? We have an announcement.
Okay, just one announcement. On the 22nd of May, Monday, we have the privilege to invite a monk. He's from Uganda, East Africa. His name is called Buddha Rakita. Buddha Rakita means protector of the Buddha. Right? The topics that we are going to talk about is, you can see a board, have I used my wealth skillfully? Every one of us have wealth, right? Whether you have a lot or you have just a little wealth. But what wealth is Bhante Buddha Rakita going to talk about? So if you want to know, come for the talk. 22nd May, Monday, 7:30 to 9:30 at this hall. Right? is the first African monk who set up a Buddhist center in Uganda. He was ordained in he actually started encounter mindfulness meditation in India while he was studying in 1993. And in 2002, he attained higher ordination by this late venerable called Sadhu. Some of them might know him. Right?
The one who wrote the book.
Yeah, the one who wrote
The book.
Buddhism.
Handbook of Abhidhamma. Handbook of Abhidhamma study.
I think one of the books that you are having. Right? So please come for the talk on 22nd May. Thank you.
Yeah, that's all. Sakyamuni Bhagavata Dejo Bharagato Bala Vidya Samangi Dan Sukatan Saranata Mubemi Ragavi Dhamma Sangha Dhamma Patikula Marurami Mamba Gunan Suvipata Dhamma Mimam Saranat Mupemi Yatacha Chatu su si su puri sayu Atacha pogala Dhamma dasate Sangha